Mr. President. In January of 2007, you just heard a horrendous crime was committed. 2 young people with promising futures were abducted, they were raped, and they were murdered. This family is rightfully angry for what happened to these 2 young people. This community is rightfully angry for the crimes that were committed at 2316 Chittenden Street. And as you listen to the evidence and you hear what happened, you're going to be angry too. Part of your job as a juror is to not let anger break. You have to make a decision based on the evidence and the strength of the evidence that the state is going to present to you. I'm going to tell you this right now. They are going to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that these children were murdered by the Calvins and the Marcus Davidson. There's no doubt about it. The state of Tennessee spent millions of dollars in their pursuit against the people who perpetrated this crime. They collected and tested evidence and retested evidence. When this crime happened, this community was enraged with what had happened. We even had the Klan show up for a rally. And what this community wanted, they wanted the people who perpetrated this crime, they wanted them caught, they wanted them charged, they wanted them convicted. Quite frankly, they wanted them dead. In their pursuit for retribution for Shannon and Chris. And you heard that list of witnesses during Wada. So I don't even know how long it took. 2-3 minutes. As they listed all the different people that the state might call as witnesses in this case, all the different law enforcement agents, all the different civilian witnesses, all the people that they went out there and talked to, that collected evidence, that performed testing. And then you'll hear about the physical evidence that they found, specifically the DNA evidence and fingerprint evidence. Let's talk a little bit about that. The state did in their opening. LaMarcus Davidson's prints were on a bank envelope found in the Forerunner, also on a Blockbuster card that Shannon had. His prints were on the trash bags that wrapped Shannon's body. A hair was found on Shannon's body. Now, the hair was tested. When you test hair, they can't do what's known as nuclear DNA. They can do mitochondrial DNA. So basically, they can trace it back to the mother. And what they were able to determine is the person who left the hair on Shannon's body was either Latavia Calvins or LaMarcus Davidson, because those two are brothers. They have the same mother. So it's one of their hairs that's there. Their DNA is all over Shannon's body. Mr. Cobbin's sperm is on her shirt, her camisole, her leg. It's in her mouth. Mr. Davidson's DNA is in her anus, in her vagina. Miss Coleman's DNA is found on a long strip of cloth that they found with Shannon's blood on it at the end where a knot was tied. You know whose DNA wasn't there at any of the scenes? Eric Ford. There's no DNA evidence that shows that he was involved in the abduction, that he was involved in the rapes, or that he was involved in the murder. these two young children. What you'll also hear is LaTalvis Cobbins, Vanessa Coleman, and George Thomas fled from Knoxville. The police had to chase them down to Kentucky. General Fitzgerald already told you about how it was multi-agencies, federal and state and local, that tracked them down and drugged them back down into this community. And of course, General Fitzgerald told you that George Thomas made a state to the police. Like so many people get caught committing a crime, minimizes his involvement in it. George Thomas, at that time, was trying to escape punishment for the crimes he was involved with. And George Thomas is going to be in this courtroom, again, trying to escape punishment for the crimes that he was involved with. And as remarkable as it may seem to us now, in the middle of this vortex of hate, death, and destruction, and General Fitzgerald talked about, the state chose to not charge Mr. Boyd with any involvement in the abduction, murder, or rape of Chris and Shannon. They didn't bring an indictment against him in 2007. And General Fitzgerald said, well, hey, we were charging Mr. Thomas. Certainly they could. Put it in the witness box as they're prepared to do here today. They really believe it was their fault. So again, last year the state brought an indictment against him. And you heard the list. I mean, we were here. It took quite a while for General Morton to read off the list of crimes of which they've accused Mr. Boyd. And basically what they've done is they've reprinted the indictments that they used to convict the murderers of Shannon and Chris. And they got an indictment against Mr. Boyd. Again, what was it that brought about this turn of events? There's a lot of speculation. Was it new evidence? Here, there was additional testing. The states tested just about everything from every crime scene that they could possibly. There's nothing really incriminating against Mr. Boyd. They're a jailhouse informant. I don't think you're going to hear anything about that. No. What you've got is they want to take the testimony of a twice convicted murderer whose word wasn't good enough for the state 11 years ago. And they made a devil's bargain with him. 50 years at 85% versus 2 consecutive life terms. It's 25 years to boot. And they're going to traipse him in here and say, tell us what happened. This is the same man who said, fuck that white girl. She didn't mean anything to me. That's who they're bringing in here. These crimes are horrific. Everybody who was involved in the investigation, the prosecution, and I can tell you for the defense, has been affected by what you have had to look at, witness, and just the trauma that these families have suffered. At the end of this case, you are going to want to find somebody guilty of the murders of Shannon and Christopher Newsom. Anger is a natural reaction. It's natural to want to do something. It's natural to want to hold somebody accountable. But quite frankly, that was done when they tried LaMarcus Davis, LaTalvis Cobbins, Vanessa Coleman, and George Thomas. Those jurors were convicted of the murder of these 2 young people. I'm asking you to set your anger aside. And you know what the system calls you to do. weigh the evidence, listen to the testimony, hold the state to their burden of proof, of proving this crime beyond a reasonable doubt. We're asking you to review the evidence, and at the end of this, we're asking you to find Eric Fuller not guilty. Thank you.